You were adopted into that family, and now Rocky is just a stranger to you. After you get married, please don't involve yourself with us as a couple. Since you're a stranger, you're not invited to the wedding. I lost my parents when I was young and have lived separately from my brother, Rocky. When I heard that Rocky was getting married, I was overjoyed. But then his fiancée Cameron said something outrageous. Little did she know, it would later cause her a great deal of trouble. I'm Samantha, a 33-year-old office worker. My parents passed away in a traffic accident when I was just 8 years old. At the time, my 5-year-old brother Rocky and I were initially taken in by our paternal grandparents. Our grandparents tried their best to raise us, but caring for 2 children was a tough task. It must have been difficult for them, especially after they had retired, to continue raising 2 kids. 3 years later, I was alone taken in by my Uncle Leighton and Aunt Ashley, becoming their adopted child. It was sad to be separated from Rocky, but it didn't mean we would never see each other. I was nervous about moving to a new home just as I had gotten used to living with my grandparents. However, Leighton and Ashley welcomed me as their own child.
Let's gradually become a real family. For us, Samantha is already our daughter. It might be hard at first, but let's try to be open and talk about anything.
I remember feeling deeply reassured by his words. I learned much later that Leighton and Ashley, unable to have children, had decided to adopt me after much discussion. Their home was a bit far from my grandparents, but a 30-minute bus ride was all it took, and I thought soon I could visit Rocky on my own. And so my life as Leighton and Ashley's daughter began. Being a biological parent and having a parental relationship aren't the same. At least, that's what I believe. One doesn't have to give birth to be a mother. A parent-child relationship can develop over time, through shared experiences and mutual affection. I learned this firsthand living with Leighton and Ashley. Though there's no blood relation between Leighton, Ashley, and me, we are undoubtedly parent and daughter, a family. I only shared this with close friends, and they were often surprised to hear we weren't biologically related. Some even praised me for growing up well despite my circumstances. But it was all due to Leighton and Ashley's love and patience. Initially, I couldn't fully open up to them, was sometimes willful, and even had a rebellious phase in hindsight. I'm truly grateful to them for accepting and facing these challenges with me. And now I wholeheartedly think of Leighton and Ashley as my parents. As an adult, I wanted to give back to them, even if just a little. So I joined Leighton's company, worked hard, and now serve as a supervisor. Rocky and I kept in touch regularly. Once we both had mobile phones, we exchanged messages and calls directly, and I sometimes visited him. However, our meetings dwindled after high school, and my messages were often met with brief replies. It seemed normal for siblings of the opposite sex to drift apart as they grew older. But like me, Rocky grew up well and remained kind-hearted under our grandparents' care. Though he must have felt lonely at times without parents, he never caused me much worry. Eventually, Rocky graduated from college and joined a renowned company, a source of great pride for our grandparents and me as his sister. Then, this year, when he turned 30, he surprisingly reached out first, wanting to introduce me to the woman he was going to marry. While I was happy for him, I also felt a bit upstaged. I regretted that our grandparents weren't around to share the joy. They would have been delighted. A few days later, Rocky brought his fiancée to meet Leighton, Ashley, and meet me at our home.
Samantha, Leighton, Ashley, let me introduce you to Cameron, my fiancé,
he said. Having lost our parents at a young age and then separated, our journey had been a challenging one. Seeing Rocky so happy and smiling, I couldn't help but feel like a mother to him. It amazed me that Rocky, once a small and cute little brother, was now introducing Cameron to us.
This is my sister, Samantha. Thank you for coming today.
I smiled at Cameron as I was introduced.
Rocky, I'm so happy to see you after such a long time. You've become such a respectable man. Congratulations on your engagement.
I'm so happy to meet you, Cameron. Thank you for coming. Leighton and Ashley also smiled and spoke to the couple. No, it's natural to attend a family meeting. I wanted to talk with Samantha too, she replied with a clear, smiling face. I had imagined her to be a quiet lady since she's the daughter of a business partner, but she seemed very composed. Rocky is a gentle, easygoing type, so maybe he matches well with a woman like her. She looked straight at me with determined eyes. That day, we introduced ourselves to each other and had a casual conversation with Leighton and Ashley over some cake. Samantha, are you single? Any plans for marriage? You're adopted by this family, aren't you? Don't you live alone? She asked various questions, seeming to investigate, but I felt she was trying to get to know me, her future sister-in-law. I was pleased when she wanted to exchange contact information when leaving. Later, she contacted me to meet at a cafe, and I felt ticklish, thinking this is what it's like to have a sister. However, my lighthearted mood was about to be abruptly overturned. As we started drinking coffee face-to-face, Cameron began, I wanted to talk with Samantha alone today. Sure, thank you. It's just us girls here, so if you have any complaints about Rocky or anything hard to say, feel free to tell me. That's not what I want to talk about. Did she just sigh? I felt something off in the atmosphere and looked up, meeting her steady gaze. There's something I want you to promise before we get married. What could it be? The mention of a promise made me a little nervous, especially since her gaze was so intense. Samantha, you're an adopted child of that couple and single, right? Yes, that's right. I was surprised by her sudden question, but answered. Rocky is now a stranger to you, right? After getting married, please don't involve yourself with us. What? I was so shocked that I let out a foolish sound. We won't invite you to the wedding since you're a stranger. What? Wait, just a minute. What is she saying? Well, legally, Rocky and I might be strangers, but we are real siblings. I don't intend to interfere with your married life, but I do want to attend the wedding and celebrate. I've heard there's no family without issues between a daughter-in-law and mother-in-law or sister-in-law. Maybe she's making sure with me, her future sister-in-law, first to avoid any trouble. But I have no intention of interfering with Rocky and Cameron's life. I gently reassured her that she didn't need to worry so much, but she didn't seem to understand my words and said, Don't misunderstand, I'm saying you're a stranger. Family but strangers. I couldn't comprehend what she was saying and tilted my head. Samantha and Rocky are already strangers, right? Moreover, you're still unmarried and living with such an elderly couple. I'd be troubled if you, a single adoptee, start depending on us in the future. She declared firmly. Such a cold look for a future sister-in-law. Unfazed by my stunned expression, she continued. After the couple passes away, it's out of the question for you to leech off us. Wait a minute. They're still very much alive. So stop saying things like that. Besides, I have a proper job and income. Yeah, barely. If you were unemployed, I wouldn't have even attended the family meeting. She interrupted me and glared. Anyway, you're not invited to the wedding. And don't invite us to your life events either. Just because you're single doesn't mean we'll take on any future support or caregiving. What does she think of me? Sure, I'm single now, but I have a job and savings. Most of all, thinking about a family member's spouse in such a way, I felt dizzy. I understand your feelings, but not even contacting about life events. I think Rocky wouldn't agree. Just because we've seen each other less as adults doesn't mean the family bond is gone. Despite being shocked, I replied firmly, Well, I guess minimal involvement can't be helped, but please gradually become distant. Her casual words made me feel sad. I'm asking this for our happy married life. If Samantha refuses, it'll make marriage difficult. Rocky was the one who wanted to marry. Please think about his happiness. It seemed like an ultimatum. If I didn't agree, she wouldn't marry Rocky. It sounded more like a one-sided declaration than a request. Rocky's proud smile from the other day came to mind. This condition was unreasonable, but I didn't want to ruin Rocky's wedding. Faced with her absurd demand, I had no choice but to remain silent. That night, when I told Layton and Ashley about the day's events, they were incredulous. No wonder. Did she really say that? She seemed so pleasant when we talked the other day. I was surprised too. I thought she just didn't want a sister-in-law meddling, but she flat out said we're strangers, and there was nothing I could do. What will you do? Layton asked, concerned. I didn't want to spoil Rocky's happy wedding. I don't agree, but I'll be absent. Once things settle, I plan to meet and celebrate with Rocky alone. I see. But if Samantha is treated like that, we don't feel like attending either. Really? Ashley nodded beside me. Seems like it's her loss, not ours. Huh? I looked puzzled and Layton smiled and nodded slightly. Then, on the wedding day, the sky was clear and blue. I should have been there to witness Rocky's happiest moment, but it couldn't be helped. Then my mobile phone rang. The screen read, Cameron. I felt no obligation to answer. The call stopped, then rang again repeatedly. Ignoring it, the phone rang over and over. On her wedding day, how could she have the time to call so much? So annoying, I muttered, and Leighton and Ashley chuckled, guessing who was calling. I put it on silent mode, but now it vibrated repeatedly. I wondered what face she made, having declared me a stranger. Eventually, the phone quieted down, but my call log was filled with Cameron's name, almost like a stalker. I found it funny. There were several voicemail messages, but I had no desire to listen. That afternoon, while enjoying snacks with Leighton and Ashley, the doorbell rang insistently. When I went to the door, Cameron barged in furiously. "Why didn't you answer the phone? Do you know how many times I called?" Isn't it your wedding day? What do you want at a stranger's house? Your absence ruined the wedding." "Really?" I smiled back, full of ease. "So you're saying I made Leighton and Ashley not attend too?" "I didn't do anything. I just didn't go to the wedding as you told me." "Really?" "That's right, isn't it? You're the one who told me, who wanted to attend Rocky's important wedding, that I couldn't come because I'm a stranger. Why should I answer a call from a stranger?" Don't use such twisted logic." "What brings you here then?" "Well, because Leighton is the branch president of the Electrical Industry Association, right? Someone mentioned his absence at the wedding."
"Cameron!"
Suddenly, Rocky burst in. "Rocky?"
"I'm sorry, Leighton. Ashley, I left without stopping her, thinking she'd be here. Samantha, I'm sorry too. I didn't know anything."
"What happened?"
"I was told by Cameron that Samantha wouldn't attend. She said she had to meet her boyfriend's parents on this day and couldn't tell me. I thought it couldn't be helped."
Huh. Quite a convincing lie she had prepared as a reason for me not attending Rocky's wedding. I'm almost impressed.
Then today, when attendees learned Leighton was absent, they asked why the chief guest was missing. Someone close to Leighton said because Samantha refused attendance, the branch president also did not attend. Moreover, Samantha is the groom's real sister. What does this mean? Cameron's parents were shocked. We didn't know about this, they said. Then it all spiraled into a big commotion with relatives and the other guests.
I guess the wedding turned into chaos, whether it was expected or not. Cameron, who had been listening to Rocky with clenched lips, glared at me again. "It's your fault. I was criticized as cruel and inhuman. If only you had answered the phone and come to the wedding, you heartless person."
"Who's the heartless one, I wonder?"
Leighton, who had been quietly observing, stood up and spoke.
"I decided not to attend on my own. Samantha actually wanted to attend for Rocky's sake."
"Really?"
"I'm a business owner and currently serve as the branch president of the Electrical Industry Association. I have relationships with Rocky's major manufacturer and your father's parts factory, but you've ruined this connection." "Such discourtesy will become known, and it'll not only affect your position but also your father's company."
"Oh!"
"By the way, Samantha is now a chief officer in our company. She's studying technology and management every day and is indispensable. She's been the secretary of the Electrical Industry Association for 2 years now, so she has a considerable network in the industry."
"What?" Cameron, who had looked down on me as a single poor nuisance, was shocked.
"Indeed, these siblings lost their real parents when they were young. It's a sad story, sadder than we can imagine."
Leighton continued in a calm, dignified voice.
"But Samantha has bravely forged ahead in life. You, who judged her unilaterally as an adoptee and single, are far more than foolish."
Cameron had no comeback. She didn't have the words to argue with Leighton. She turned her anger back on me. "This liar! If I knew this person was important and rich, I would have let you attend the wedding." "Enough already," I said firmly to her, who still couldn't say anything but that. "I tried to talk about my work, but you didn't listen, did you? Everyone introduced themselves on the day of the family meeting. You only remembered that I was single and an adoptee. You end up in such situations because you judge people only by their titles and appearances. I'm not here because I can't afford to live alone, but because I want to be with my parents, Leighton and Ashley." "What, We're family. Now, stranger, please leave." "Wait, if you don't mediate, I'll be the bad guy. Do something, sister." "I'm not your sister. I'm a stranger." I smiled and corrected her. "He's my cute little brother's fiancé, so you're like a sister." "Stubborn, aren't you? Take responsibility for what you said. If you smooth things over, I'll take back what I said before. There's nothing I can do as a stranger. Wait, what? Then, goodbye. Wait, don't go like that!
Come on, let's go. I still have a lot of questions for you.
Cameron, still protesting, was forcibly taken away by Rocky. After that, Rocky and Cameron's wedding was called off midway, and Cameron was billed for the cancellation fees. She complained it was unfair, but her parents accepted it was their daughter's fault. Her father's company, though she was a president's daughter, was just a small factory. Maintaining relations with Rocky's major company and the Electrical Industry Association, where Leighton served as branch president, was vital for the survival of their business. Now, due to her actions, her parents were busy apologizing. Of course, she was scolded severely for causing such a situation and wasn't even allowed to return home. She tried to stay with friends, but after the wedding fiasco, they distanced themselves and no one was willing to help. Rocky came to apologize for what happened.
It turns out she only liked me because I work at a big company and have no parents, so I'm not a hassle. And treating Samantha like a nuisance, I hate that I couldn't see through her.
We all cheered up the downcast Rocky together with Leighton and Ashley. It's good that the marriage certificate wasn't issued yet. She was pretty, and if she hid her true nature in front of you, it's no wonder you were deceived.
Rocky is too kind. It's unfortunate about her, but you'll surely find someone who truly loves you. Really?
Here, Rocky, your favorite sweets from that shop. Let's have some coffee. This incident seemed to have brought me closer to Rocky, whom I hadn't seen much since we became adults. I realized I had been neglecting to keep in touch with Rocky too. The reason for our reunion was his marriage announcement, so in that sense, I guess I should be thankful to her. Watching Rocky talk with Leighton and Ashley just like a real family, I thought about this. Friends, lovers, family. Maybe we tend to take those closest to us for granted and forget to care for them over time. I want to cherish and protect this happiness, taking care of the important people in my life. Are your loved ones doing well?